Good morning and happy Valentine's Day to those to which it applies. All right, so today I am going to talk about tennis elbow, and I am going to tell you a story about, let's see if I get some better light, about a 6 month journey that I have had with tennis elbow on my left side. All right, so this started, in general, I am too loose. That's like my issue and my problem in life. Hypermobile, too loose for my own good, crazy hyperextended knees. I hurt my knees in yoga and um, ended up having 3 knee surgeries, which is what led me to the work I do now. And I, being hypermobile, I tend towards injury. And I work really hard, I work out really hard, and I'm in really good shape at 57 years old, but I get injured all the time. And that's just a part of being hypermobile, I think. It's not hard to get injured. All right, so this started about maybe 8 months ago, even last spring and summer. I love running, but I always get injured running. So I started running, and this was last spring, and developed shin splints pretty quickly, as I always do, and then a little bit of plantar fasciitis. So I was like, I'm done. I am not even going to try to work through my running stuff. So I broke out my bike for the first time in a long time. I used to live in New York, and in New York, I biked everywhere for function, to go to work, back and forth, in and out of the city. I lived in Brooklyn. So here I broke out my bike, and for the first time ever, actually, I was riding for leisure and pleasure. And I was doing an hour-long ride. And your standard bike, this is the position of your arms on your standard bike. Trying to recreate, so sorry, Kitty. A flat bike bar does this, and it makes your elbows go wide. So that's a very standard thing. It's pretty much what's sold on most bikes. You know, you have tri-bikes, which have different handles, and you have 10 speeds, which have the fold under handles. But the flat bar is a pretty standard bike. I have a hybrid. And so I was biking every day, 10 miles, about an hour. And it took about 6 weeks before I realized my elbow was hurting, but it took another 4 weeks at least before I connected it to my bike. And by the time I made that connection, I was in a lot of pain. And it got to the point where my muscles were just fatiguing. So I cook a lot, and I keep my oils are up on a cabinet. And the idea of reaching for a jar of olive oil would not work. I couldn't put it back. I couldn't pick it up. I was just in so much pain here, and it was shocking. So I set out to figure out what to do about this. So the first thing I did was, I have another bike. So this is one bike. I have another bike that was made by a bike craftsman in Brooklyn by the name of Peter Reich. It's a folding bike. It's called the Swift Folder. And when I got it, I wanted a different handlebar. And I totally forgot about this 10 years later, but I didn't like the straight bar. And he found for me a bar that bends and it angles. So the angle allows, so in other words, if you're biking on a flat bar, your wrist is cocked like this the entire time. And I got a bar where my wrist is like that. Put the bike bar on the new bike right away. I knew it. I felt it the first ride, because I got to the point where when I was riding, I was just every 3 minutes of biking, I'd be shaking my arm out because it would get so tired and fatigued. So I got the new bike handlebars, and what was so great was I knew immediately that was my problem. Right? I knew within like the first 20 minutes I hadn't shaken out my elbow. So I was like, this is great. The tennis elbow did not go away. So I was on my bike. So this is like October. I'm on my bike. Tennis elbow's not going away. I stopped biking for a couple of weeks to see. A tennis elbow did not go away. It wasn't being made worse, right? But it did not go away. Okay. Call a physical therapist, and went to a physical therapist here. I live in Cleveland now. I don't live in New York anymore. Went to physical therapist here in Cleveland and had a really great experience. But basically, what she was saying is my arm would not extend anymore. It got beaten up basically in this bent position, so I had to work to extend it. That was my first movement into healing. Don't mess up my stuff, kitty. That was my first movement into healing. I got it extended, all right? And then I only had a couple of sessions with her. I went online and I found some really great exercises. I'll show you these really basic exercises. Really simple stuff, you know, flexion, extension, and then turning it upside down, flexion, extension. And I should still be doing them because I could feel the benefit they gave me. The best one that I found was a supination exercise. This is a 5-pound weight. You start with a 2-pound weight, going up and down. This really got that muscle back into the game, right? So that was a good one. Then I own these little contraptions, and you don't really need to buy something as silly as this, because it's a rubber band, so you can just use a series of rubber bands around your fingers, but I like buying toys. So this is a toy that it comes with 3 different levels. This is level 3. Level 1 doesn't really work for me. And you spread your fingers open, and bring them back in. And this is a great exercise. You can see how my pinky doesn't want to work as well as the others. And so then I started doing these, and doing them, spreading this open and working supination and pronation with spread fingers. That was super helpful. So I healed, I healed pretty darn well. And I'd say I was 95% done. And I wasn't, so this is like, it's been 2 months of 95% done. And then the real problem, I'll do one of these about sleep. The real problem was sleeping, even though I felt I was pretty much healed. If you sleep in a certain way, I'd wake up and be tense. Okay, so the end of this chat is my new toy. And it is a massager. And this is just one I happen to get at Costco. And there are a lot of these out there. And there are ranges of price. So this one was like $80. And it's a percussion thing, which I can't do. It bangs down, which you can do on big muscles. But I literally, so I'm waking up, it sits on my desk, and I'm waking up every morning, and I'm just getting that little tendon. It's really kind of one last bit. I do it at the first level for a bit. I move it up. I do it at the second. And it is so great now because I'm barely even feeling it. The first day I got this and I started working on this, because in truth, this was like the best thing I got from the physical therapist. The first day, it was like my eyes were rolling into my head. My kids were laughing at me. But now I'm not even feeling it, and I can work out any tension I have immediately. So that's your little story about my tennis elbow. I am really hating this winter, and I cannot wait for it to warm up a little bit. And I have all my winter gear for biking, and I just don't like using it. I want some warm weather. But I know that I'm going to get back on the bike in the spring, and my tennis elbow is not going to be a factor anymore. So I'm really excited about that. Thanks so much for listening. My cat trashed my mouse. And have a great day, and happy Valentine's Day.